How it all began for me was I had a frozen shoulder and I went to my GP to see if he could do anything about it. He recommended me to see a sports kind of therapist who gave me a couple of injections. It didn't go away, so I went back and he suggested I saw a neurologist. It didn't really occur to me that anything serious would be going on. She noticed that I was walking differently and noticed that there were other things taking place in my body. And this carried on for about a year altogether. And then the term Parkinson's was mentioned.
Well, in '93 I had a mini stroke, and during those times my memory was a bit off. I realized while I was cooking also, if I want something from the cupboard and I go to the cupboard, I can't remember what I want. So I happened to go to my doctor, not for that, for something else. And I mentioned it to her, so she said she'll make an appointment for me to see somebody. When I saw them, they told me the news. It was shown on the scan that a part of my brain is shedding away, missing, deteriorating. So that's Alzheimer's. This is Alzheimer's.
I didn't know what was happening and why it was happening. The doctor didn't actually say what I was going through. He was unclear, so he recommended me to have the MRI scan. And then when the doctor phoned me, he had the results and he told me that it was actually nocturnal epilepsy. On the phone, that's not good enough. It needs to be sitting down with me, like one-to-one, and having me a good discussion.
I woke up one morning with my balance all over the place. I couldn't focus on my computer screen. The MRI scan showed that the signposts were there, that it could be something like MS that was affecting me.
People with a neurological condition often have very similar experiences. There may be a long wait before people receive a referral to go and see a neurologist. A neurological diagnosis can be really hard to make and take a long time.
I was just diagnosed by the phone because I was sitting there waiting, I would say 2-3 months after I had the last scan.
I didn't receive any written information, and the not being willing to commit at that time to a diagnosis meant it was just looking at symptoms.
Waiting for a diagnosis is not good. It's not good because you sit there each day, it takes you off your working life. It makes you sit there. You're worried. You actually are worried.
People with neurological conditions often leave the consultation with a diagnosis, but not fully understanding what the diagnosis means. Many people find it difficult to ask questions. They're very conscious that health professionals are extremely busy people. It's vital that health professionals create an environment in which people feel comfortable and confident to ask questions.
Of course, I want to know. Otherwise, whatever it is, whatever way it is, I want to know. And please don't tell me anything different, because I would know.
I didn't understand what he actually was talking about when he said nocturnal epilepsy, because I felt epilepsy, that's it.
The way how I got it from him, as if he found out that it was Alzheimer's, he wouldn't have told me. What I started doing was, in between seeing the neurologist, if things were happening, I'd write them down. And I'd write down questions I wanted to ask. I'm a person who asks questions. I don't just take no for an answer. I want to know how, when, and if whatever's happening, I always ask questions.
When I see my specialist, I take a list of symptoms and questions because I'm very forgetful, and I think he probably feels then he must answer each of those questions because I've taken the trouble to think them through and present them to him.
If people with neurological conditions know what questions to ask and have access to good information, then the choices that they make about treatment can be better informed.
We found the internet to be an incredible source of information, but also too vast. There was far too much information within the internet that wasn't relevant, or perhaps wasn't researched or authorised or whatever. Earlier this year, my specialist advised me that there was an alternative treatment available to me. By questioning him when I had those appointments, I was able to come away with information that I wouldn't have got off the net or from printed information.
There's a lot of people out there who actually, you know, some people don't have internets. And there's people who have an internet, but they don't know what to look for.
There's so much information on there that people get bogged down and lost in it and confused. And I think what would have been really useful to me would have been to be given some kind of booklet that has, you know, some basic information and resources of where to get the answers you need.
What people need is information to take away from that first session, and also an opportunity to go back and ask questions. And we feel that many people aren't getting that opportunity to go back.
What we'd like to see is more people leaving their consultation where they get their diagnosis, having a clear idea of where to go to get more information about their condition.
It's really important that everybody leaves that first appointment with contact details of the specialist team that are looking after them.
I effectively got a healthcare team for myself. I have my specialist, and there is an MS nurse who is available, probably far more available than the specialist is, and I'm able to ask her questions as and when I need to, which are outside of the appointment process.
We're really concerned that at the moment funding for the jobs of specialist nurses seems to be under threat.
Many medicines for neurological conditions have side effects. It's really important that people have an opportunity to understand what side effects they may experience and what to do if they get them.
They're very powerful drugs, and being powerful drugs, they can have some very adverse side effects. And you're not necessarily told what the side effects are. And then things start happening to you in your daily experience, and you're not sure whether they're side effects of the drugs or whether it's the disease process.
Half of them side effects is not in what you suffer from, is not in on the little detail papers what they give you.
And I know that people say, oh, you get a sheet with the drugs, the information sheet, but it's so general and so waffly and vague, it's just unhelpful.
We're finding that of all the different sources of information, people with neurological conditions really value information from patient support groups.
It's good to go to other sources to find out information.
I've learnt more about talking to other people who's suffering with epilepsy, different kinds of epilepsy, and what they go through and how they try and maintain stability with it.
I went on a bulletin board one night and somebody was talking about it, they experienced it, and suddenly I thought, I'm not alone. The key to good health management is feeling you can discuss the issues with your GP or your neurologist. If I was to design a resource pack, I think I'd include things like where you could get some counselling, complementary therapies you could use, some guidelines as to how to take care of yourself and how to get information, and the support bodies that are available would be really useful. It's very important that we have people to talk to and that we can get advice from.
If more people with neurological conditions know what questions to ask and have good access to information, they can make better informed choices about their health.